As the manufacturing chain gradually shifts to Southeast Asia and other countries, Chinese foreign trade enterprises have been losing orders in recent years. Beijing's insistence on the zero-COVID policy has further exacerbated the pace of foreign investment exodus from China. As a new outbreak of the epidemic resumed in many parts of China, the strict closure restrictions on the transportation of raw materials and finished products caused cost increases and delays in supply, resulting in a sharp drop in orders for many exporters in July. Recently, Dongguan City, Guangdong Province, once known as China's manufacturing base, has continuously reported that companies are closing business or taking long holidays, while Yiwu City, the manufacturing and export center in eastern China, has closed down since August 11th. Logistics and express delivery ceased operations. A large number of local private small and medium-sized enterprises have been disrupted by official administrative orders during the export season, which added salt to the wound for exports, a key engine of the Chinese economy. Some economists predict that China's exports will continue to slow down in the future amid the trend of low global demand. Dongguan in Guangdong Province is the third largest city after Guangzhou and Shenzhen. Dongguan's manufacturing industry, which is dominated by Hong Kong, Taiwan, and foreign invested enterprises, was once the production base of the world's largest enterprises in its peak, and was truly the factory of the world. Dongguan is the world's largest computer parts manufacturing base. 95% of computer parts are produced in Dongguan. The output of computer motherboards, magnetic heads, and drives account for more than 75% of the world's total, so it is also called the IT capital. Dongguan also is one of the 4 major shoe industry bases in China. There are more than 1,300 shoe-making enterprises in the city, and 1 in every 10 pairs of shoes in the world are made in Dongguan. Dongguan has the largest textile printing and dyeing factory in Asia and more than 4,000 textile and garment processing enterprises, which is why it is also called the garment capital. It is also the world's largest toy manufacturing city, with toy exports accounting for 75% of the global market. With the rapid development of China's economy since its entry into the World Trade Organization in 2001, Dongguan has maintained a continuous high GDP growth for 20 years. However, such a manufacturing base has recently been reported to be closing down or taking long holidays. On July 18th, Cooper Electronics, a factory in Dongguan that manufactures Bluetooth headsets for international brands, issued a notice of suspension of production and business, stating that since the outbreak of the coronavirus, the global economy and trade have been affected. The backlog of finished products in the warehouse created a vicious circle. Domestic and foreign orders are seriously affected, showing a cliff-like decrease. At the same time, the outbreak of the Russian-Ukrainian war, the decline of the general economy, directly caused the company to suffer heavily. The company decided to officially suspend production on July 18th, and the company's current more than 100 employees were all dismissed ahead of schedule. Cooper Electronics, established in 2010, is a production enterprise integrating R&D, production, and sales of Bluetooth headsets. It used to have about 1,000 employees and an R&D team of nearly 100 people. The monthly production capacity reached 400,000 units, and its products were mainly distributed to Europe, North America, and Asia markets. In 2020, it also obtained the High-Tech Enterprise Certificate issued by Guangdong Province, but 2 years later, it was suddenly announced that it would stop production. Subsequently, Dongguan Kaisan Toys Co. Limited announced that orders were declining due to the pandemic, and the situation was so serious that it was difficult to pay wages on time every month. So it's deciding to formally close down on August 19th and lay off its employees, paying them financial compensation in accordance with the relevant provisions of the labor law. Dongguan Kaishan Toys had more than 2,000 employees at its height. However, due to the massive transfer of toy orders to Southeast Asia in recent years, The company currently has only 100 employees. On July 27th, it was reported that Dongguan City Plastic and Electronics Co. Limited had laid off staff, transformed, and was preparing to close down as well. This Hong Kong-owned toy manufacturer, which has been established for more than 20 years, has long-standing relationships with overseas retailers such as Toys R Us, Walmart, Target, and Costco. In addition, Dongguan Jieying Precision Hardware Products Co. Limited decided to officially suspend production and close business on August 31st. The company's announcement stated that since the outbreak of the virus, the company has been trying to maintain operational production and keep the livelihood of its employees. But as fate would have it, orders have shrunk dramatically since May. The company had no choice but to shut down its operations and its staff had to be laid off. On July 29th, Huizhou Wanzhisheng New Energy Technology Co. Limited issued a notice saying that due to the impact of the epidemic, the company's orders fell sharply, and the company announced a 5-day holiday for major departments. Another company announced that from July 30th, the holidays will continue until February 10th of next year after the Chinese New Year. Free Asia reported on August 11th that Cai Shen-kun, a financial commentator, said that Dongguan companies have gone through a gradual process of closing down. The relocation and closure of businesses have become more common recently. Dongguan was once a manufacturing base in China, but with the transfer of the industrial chain and the continuous migration of foreign capital, there are not many high-quality industries in Dongguan now. Due to the continuous increase in operating costs, foreign-funded enterprises in China have now turned to Vietnam, Cambodia, and other Southeast Asian countries to invest in and set up factories in recent years. The Chinese Communist Party's policy of zeroing out the virus has further accelerated the pace of foreign investment out of China and reduced orders from private enterprises. According to financial expert Guan Min, he believes that the Chinese government's assistance to enterprises is only an empty verbal promise, and enterprises have not actually benefited. The COVID-19 outbreak is now in its 3rd year, and the lack of actual financial support from the government to private companies is also one of the reasons for the closure of these companies. He said that the CCP government prefers state-owned enterprises to replace private enterprises. For the CCP, this is a great opportunity for the state to advance and the people to retreat. Just as factories in Dongguan, China's manufacturing and export base, closed their doors, Yiwu, an export base in eastern China, went into lockdown again due to the COVID-19 outbreak. On August 11th, Yiwu City, Zhejiang Province, announced that starting from midnight that day, the city will implement a 3-day closed management. Yiwu, China's largest small commodity trading base, has been suspended due to the pandemic, which will affect the export of small commodities in the peak season. As the small commodity capital of the world, Yiwu's products are exported to more than 210 countries and regions in the world, and its product exports account for more than 65% of the market. For a long time, Yiwu's small commodity market has been one of the most concentrated purchasing bases for domestic and foreign merchants. Before the pandemic, more than 560,000 foreign businessmen came to Yiwu for purchases every year. How much impact will this pandemic have on Yiwu? According to a report by China Business Network on August 11th, the person in charge of a small and medium-sized enterprise in Yiwu International Trade City said that he had received relevant information that all enterprises will immediately stop working and everyone will withdraw from the office area. Many e-commerce customers have stopped sales and shipments, and the impact of the pandemic is huge. As an enterprise with integrated industry and trade, the production was also hampered. The parts suppliers reflected that they could not deliver as planned, and our company was basically at a standstill with heavy losses. According to the Wenzhou Evening News, Jiang Yongzhong, chairman of the Yiwu Wenzhou General Chamber of Commerce, said that the epidemic in Yiwu had a huge impact on orders, and many orders could not be delivered on time. The current situation is that our raw materials can't come in, and our goods can't be sent out. The shipping schedules, containers, and delivery times that we have arranged earlier have all been affected. On August 11th, someone working at Foxconn in Guanlan, Shenzhen tested positive, and the factory was suddenly under strict control. All the workers in the factory were stranded and were not allowed to go back. 60,000 people in the factory were asked to do nucleic acid testing. Recently, the topic of how many billions of dollars were lost in the Shanghai epidemic and how many people died in Shanghai due to the epidemic became very popular on the internet. According to the latest data on the epidemic in Shanghai, so far, a total of 595 people have died in Shanghai due to the epidemic. Due to the closure of Shanghai, a large number of small and medium-sized enterprises have closed down, and foreign capital has withdrawn. According to data from the National Bureau of Statistics, Shanghai's GDP fell by 13.7% year-on-year in the second quarter. After the lockdown was lifted in June, another outbreak occurred in Shanghai on August 11th, and some communities were closed yet again, and all staff were tested for nucleic acid. In the afternoon of August 12th, a great escape occurred at Fisherman's Wharf in Yangpu District, Shanghai. Due to the notification from the Epidemic Control Center, there was mix-up and anomalies in the nucleic acid testing, so the Oriental Fisherman's Wharf will be closed for 48 hours. Then, several medical staff in blue overalls came and set up a fence at the entrance of the building to prevent people in the building from leaving. However, the people in the building worked together to push away the blue-clad personnel, rushing out of the building and fled in all directions. Among the people who fled in panic, many of them fell. On August 9th, part of Xiamen was closed, and all staff had to go through nucleic acid testing overnight.